Hey, it's Andrzej on Software. Yesterday I was quite active on Twitter, and one of the questions I have received on Twitter from Mateusz this time was why would we expect developers to adjust to business language? Most of the developers don't have proper soft skills. In my opinion, extra layer is needed. Actually, I do know that I'm aware of the fact, I'm 20 years in the IT industry working with programmers. I am actually aware of the fact that there are many developers who lack soft skills. To be more specific, there are developers who are not great at communication, and there are different kind of problems between them, so it's not like the same problem every time. Some of them are actually communicating well, but they are using language which is not easy to understand by non-technical people, so they go very quickly into technical details and everyone is lost in the discussion. Some people are like so introvertic that they find it really hard to actually communicate, especially in real life meetings. That's the problem. What I found positive though, in remote environments, developers actually are super okay with communicating by writing. So it's not like their introvertism is showing in a way that they can't speak. It's actually about the voice that many have problems with. So it's not that they are like unable or unwilling to communicate. For many of developers, written communication is much, much better and easier and more natural, which I also agree to. I don't think I have problems with soft skills, so sometimes it might be a problem with, emphasizing with other developers. But what I have noticed over the years by working with developers and seeing how their activities on the project, I started to look at this whole problem differently. I think that I like to look at it holistically. So it's easy to say, let's put some managers as an additional layer on top of developers, so at least the developers don't have to speak to other people, and they only speak to this manager. This is maybe solving one problem, but it creates many other problems. It creates many other problems at the level of developers not having access to the real information provided by the business, because now it's the manager who is responsible for that. And they're always lacking details like what exactly was said. The manager acts as a proxy, which is a problem too. So all in all, I think this kind of setup where you always put managers on top of developers and you kind of expect that developers don't have to speak too much creates more problems than it solves. But it does solve the original problem, which is so tempting to everyone to actually, okay, let's solve this problem and forget it. But it does create new problems. So what are the other options? Other options is to encourage developers to communicate more, to present them access to more information, to listen to them. Very often we encourage developers to talk, but then no one cares what they are talking. And they do actually provide nice warnings, things will break, we can't do it, and so on. But no one cares about it. So that's a problem. And if you keep discouraging them this way by ignoring what they say, you can't expect them to communicate too much. What's the goal? The goal is to improve developers' communication, but it's not that they don't have this skills. They have it in different forms. So I actually do see huge improvements in remote environments where more is written. Developers are not usually the best people in brainstorming, especially in group decision making, group brainstorming, because it's only the louder person that wins the argument usually. So does it mean that I don't see a place for project managers or other managers? Well, I do see the place for them, and that's a great role, important role. I see that what we could call now the project managers could become senior project manager or mentor project manager. And I would encourage developers to make project management decisions too. Try to be a project manager at some scale. Try to be a junior project manager maybe. And have the mentor, the real project manager, to be supportive. So I want the project managers, the traditional project managers, to be more like a support for the developers' roles. And I do want developers, and I do expect developers to talk to the business, talk to the users, because otherwise the information gets lost. The information is actually changed along the way, and the developers get what is just a vision of one manager in between. Just a disclaimer here, if we are talking about a few hundred people or a few thousand programmers working on a project, I did work in such an environment. It's not a place where I usually want to work, so I'm not talking about this kind of project. I'm talking about like up to 10, 20 developers in one system, in one project, where this can work. And at RKNC, it worked really well at different scales for us so far, so I'm quite happy with the results so far. So programmers can play as project managers, can play the role from time to time. I don't want them to be too much like taken away from the code. That's most important, but they can be good project managers. I have seen that, and I hope you can see that too one day or another. And if you're a developer, I encourage you to step more into the business side of the project, learn more, and make decisions. That's a nice situation to be in. And thanks for listening.